everyone for coming on tonight. I'm going to start off by introducing our organizer, Carolyn Dickinson, who is the founder of Supermom Entrepreneur and co-producer of I Am the Boss events. She is a coach for entrepreneurial moms, women, and is also a corporate trainer. As a mom of two amazing little girls and an entrepreneur, she has constantly demonstrated how to be successful in both areas. She has over a decade of hands-on experience leading international sales and marketing companies and has won several awards in her industry, including top retailer and top leadership with Global Wealth Trade. Carolyn is an expert at networking, sales, creating relationships, and elevating others. Since leaving her corporate career to pursue her own business consultancy, Carolyn has become an accomplished success coach, speaker, and event organizer. And based on her strong family values, she believes that anything is possible. Overcoming many challenges in all aspects of her own life and in finding the harmony has given her the passion to support and coach other entrepreneurs. Welcome, Carolyn.
Thank you so much, Jody, for that amazing introduction. And you know, Jody, it's so great to have you participating with us today. Jody is also a mom and a representative of Avon and is building a phenomenal business. So Jody, thank you so much for being with us tonight. We really appreciate your support. Ladies and gentlemen, you are all here to hear about how to build a successful six-figure income in 2 hours. Oh my gosh, so am I. I'm so excited about our guest speaker. I met Dana a little while back at an event and we started chatting. And she started telling me what she's able to accomplish in her day, and I thought I was good. After hearing about Dana, I was like, wow, we need to get you on a webinar. We need you to share your skills, your talents with everyone else, because so many of us have that challenge of being organized, getting things done, you know, being able to make sure we have time for our spouses, our children, our family, our friends. And you know what, even if you don't have a spouse or children, what about your parents, your sisters, your brothers, your cousins? When being an entrepreneur, you're always so busy on the go, we forget about some of those important things. So, you know, Dana Ben Halim is the founder of Heart Learning Center, an enriched after-school program in Toronto, providing educational and administrative leadership for the school for the past 11 years to over 275 students. She's the creator of HEART, H-E-A-R-T, curriculum, which incorporates health and wellness, emotional intelligence, academic excellence, readiness for financial world, and talent through the arts in her program to children ages 4 and 12 years. Oh my gosh, our children need that so much. She's also the founder of a camp director, of Camp Zone, which she also created, a season day camp for visionary leaders in Toronto incorporating HEART curriculum with physical education and the arts to students for the past 10 years, over 1,000 campers. Dana does so much. She's also recently diversified and is now a co-founder of Blue Spruce Recruiting and Consulting, a leading staff and resource firm, earning an excellent reputation by serving clients in Canada and Middle East through sourcing top talent for temporary and part-time or full-time positions. Wow, Dana does a lot. Dana, I just want to welcome you to this webinar. We are so excited to have you on board with us and for you to share all the information that you have. So welcome, Dana.
Thank you, Carolyn. I'm so excited to be here, and I want to thank you, and I want to thank Jody, and I want to thank everyone who's here on the webinar with us. I'm so grateful at this moment. I'm so grateful for this opportunity to share my story and to empower others on how they can do the same. So I just want to say thanks, and I'm so excited to be here to share.
Amazing, amazing. Dana, I know we've gone through your presentation. We have some phenomenal information to get going with. So I want to get started because I know we have a lot to cover. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you guys have a question while we're moving forward, you know, there is the possibility here to raise your hand. Also, you can send me a note. There's a chat section there. There's question sections. You can type in a question. If it's something that you're just asking me privately, please mention that. Otherwise, I'm going to assume you're asking a question to Dana, and I will bring that up. So we're going to have a great time today. We're going to learn lots, take lots of notes, and I know Dana will be open in between and at the end for a few questions to support you in creating anything as possible. And I know, Dana, we're going to get started here, and it's like, you know, I love your first topic here. So why bother getting organized? Why should we be organized? What's the importance of that, Dana?
Well, Carolyn, the importance of organization came to me a while back. This is a picture of me when I started my business. There's me and my son, who's now 10 years old, and you can see that I look very disorganized, and I absolutely was. I was extremely stressed. I was worried constantly. I had pain. I had back pain, and just the lack of, what I wanted to do was not being accomplished. So this is when I started the business, and I started also trying to figure out how can I do this as a mom with 3 kids, with a husband, with a house, and which many people, I'm sure, have similar thoughts. And I really wanted to start my business, and I really wanted to take off, and I knew that this was going to be a challenge, but I was ready to take it on. So I've done a lot of work on organization. I've invested a lot in myself, and I've come to my own, as you know, I've created my own philosophy, so I've created my own time management in which I'm about to share. And like you said, we do have a lot to go through, so I'm excited about it. The first thing, Carolyn, is I used to think, okay, what would I do with an extra hour, extra couple of hours a day? And when I started researching, I kind of felt like I was the only one. Is that actually now, if you do the research, according to Sun Life Financial and the Canadian Health Index, 90% of young Canadians from 18 to 24 are the most stressed out of the population. And it doesn't mean that we're the exception. If I'm the exception, I don't know if there's any 25 or 44-year-olds as well like me, but we are actually the 80% of adults, we feel the excessive stress. So I certainly wasn't alone. The stress caused, like I said, a lot of headaches, high blood pressure, heart problems for many people. It even got me heart palpitations at one time. So that's pretty much why I felt like I wanted to get organized, and I think that people, when you think of organization, that's exactly what, we think of. Like, let's get some time on our side and also start to feel the success, because success actually feeds success. So we want to be free from the worry and the stress, right?
Absolutely, and that makes a lot of sense, I mean, stress is the worst killer out there. It causes so many other things. So if we can be organized and prepared, as you're mentioning, and just create that time, wow, what an amazing difference that can make in a lot of people's lives.
Absolutely, Carolyn, and we can, and that's what we're about to do today is share how we actually can and how much relief it's going to give us when we actually get there. We've got to take it on, so
right.
Let's.
The next thing you're going to talk to us about, which I'm really excited about, and I know you and I have had a few little offside conversations about this, and the never give up attitude. Like, you have this amazing attitude. You never give up, and you have this unbelievable, just it's all going to work out attitude. And I know sometimes we have our moments, but you seem to just always be able to keep coming back to that spot. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, I love that, Carolyn. Thank you. The never give up attitude is something that I cherish. The word impossible, it absolutely means nothing to me. And if we are to look at this word, impossible, and if we're to absolutely, I mean, there's some things obviously, like we can't fly, okay, but if we're looking about our work, if we're looking about parenting, and it's something that we really, really want, we really need to eliminate this word that it's impossible to get. We need to use our creative mind to actually try and use our resources, whatever leverage we have, to actually get to that goal, especially if we know deep inside that it's good for us. Okay, so I'm possible is something that I've switched in my own head, that from impossible to I'm possible. I know that, and it's always starting from within. So I've talked to you about this as well, Carolyn. I thoroughly believe in human magic. I believe that all of us are energy. We keep talking about how everything is energy. Human beings are energy. And if we really focus, and if we really, wherever we focus, that's where all the results are going to happen. So let me give you an example, okay? If I'm going to ride a bike, and I'm going to be eating a sandwich at the same time, and I'm going to probably drift off and think about, you know, the skies and the stars. I'm not going to be looking where I'm going. I'm probably going to fall off my bike and I'm going to hurt myself.
For sure.
So, yeah. So when we think that anything is possible and we focus on what we want to achieve, that's mainly where I start. But the second thing is that I know, Carolyn, that fear is going to knock on my door, but I just don't invite it in. Or if I invite it in, actually, I think of it as a learning experience. Like fear is something that you know, most people think of as a negative thing. I actually see it as, okay, if it's going to come, like my old habits are going to start knocking, I'm going to start getting lazy again, or you know what, I really feel like smoking that shisha because that was a really awful habit that I had. I don't invite it in. I think of something else and focus on how I've stopped and the positive, and then the feeling of going back to my old habits goes away. The third thing is pumping my engine and how people can pump their engine. If we're going to go through what I personally like to do, I love movies, I love music, and I love to hang around with people that lift me up. That's how I pump my engine. And so when you're talking about the feeling of feeling down, absolutely, I'm a human being. I feel that way. Sometimes even I feel sadness, and you feel like a little bit of chemistry going on in your body, and you're like, what's going on? Why am I feeling this way? But I always go back to that engine. And what I'm hoping everybody here who's listening will do is also start believing that anything is possible and really trying to pay attention, which is where we're going to go through of how they can pump, how everybody can pump their own engines.
Awesome. So it sounds like, you know, just to summarize here, is that anything is possible. And the reality is fear is going to come along no matter what happens. And actually what you're saying is you can use your fear to your advantage and look at what you can create by going back and thinking about the things that inspire you and pump your engine and keep you going, to keep those things in the top of your mind. And when that fear comes along, you go and do those things. You go after that and pump your engine back up again and just diminish that fear that occurred for you.
That's right, Carolyn, and you're the only one, and everybody's I'm the only one that can pump my engine.
Right.
That's the thing that I used to look a long time ago to my husband to motivate me, and it never worked. And that's when I started realizing I got to do this. I got to do this on my own. For sure.
We got to take care of ourselves. It's so important. And it's true. You know what, Dana? A lot of people, we often then rely on someone else to do that for us or to make us happy, or to keep us motivated, and that is not how it works. You have to find that within yourself. 100% I agree with you on that one. So let's go next step. I'm excited to this one. Your I can't speak. Your productive state. And look at these phenomenal pictures. Please share. I see that picture of you and your husband over there, Dana. Nice picture.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I'm really blessed. I'm really blessed. This is so. Our productive state, basically, Carolyn, is I put it into three things. Like when I'm feeling the most productive, I take these kinds of little pay attentions, if you will, and I put them in my pocket, you know. And when I'm feeling, oh my God, I like for example, like with my accounting, it's not my strong suit. I do it. I know that it has to be part of my business. Or sometimes I need to pull one of these cards out, okay, to get me into my productive state. So how do we get to our productive state, and where do we find these little cards that we can pull? So these are obviously the reasons why I do things. The first and foremost is my family. I'm just so thankful for them. I always think about them, and especially my children with my business, when I'm working, and even with my health. Like when I start to get back pains, I think of them. Like I want to be around for them. I want to see them grow. I want to see them, you know, be successful in their lives and get, you know, fulfill their dreams. My husband is my best friend. It's also something that I've worked at. We've gone through our own ups and downs, but it takes work from both sides. But he's also somebody that I admire. there's my business.
Actually, I'm going to stop you right there, Dana, because that's a really good point, if you don't mind. I have talked to so many women, coaching as well, and one of the challenges that, you know, a lot of women have is that they don't have that supportive husband. But now, like, I like your point, because you said very clearly, I worked at that. And maybe you could share with us some of the things that you did to inspire your husband to be supportive or to believe in you. And I'm sure he had some of it in him as well, but how did you get his buy-in to what you were doing? And this can work either way, whether it's a wife or a husband or you know, whatever that looks like, to get that person's buy-in and create that support. What was it? What are some of the things that maybe you did?
You know, Carolyn, this is a great question. I had a similar conversation with a friend. Number one, with Mohammed, that's my husband's name, he has a great sense of humor, and I learned through him to not take things so seriously and to really try to appreciate his point of view. I used to think that he was making fun of me when he laughed, and then I slowly started, because of myself, my own self, that was my own self-confidence issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when I started actually listening, I actually started pretending that my mouth was duct taped, Carolyn. Can you imagine?
I've had to do that a few times.
Yeah, and I, like I said, movies inspire me. There is one movie by Eddie Murphy, I don't know if you recall, I don't know if you've seen it. Every time he spoke a word, one of the leaves would fall off this magic tree, and if all the leaves fell, he would die. And it's an incredible movie to watch, to see like how he was so careful with his words, and I was inspired by that movie. I learned to keep my mouth shut, and when I did, he actually started speaking more, and I started understanding him better.
Wow.
That's really the first thing. The second is I really invested in our relationship. I invested in myself first, and then I really encouraged him to invest in our relationship as well, with personal development and meditation classes. So we both speak the same language. We both know when we're telling ourselves stories. And now, like, our conversation flows because we've both gone through the development. He didn't want to. I'll be honest. Like, unfortunately, it is a lot. The majority are women that are like, hey, you know, do you want to go to counseling, or do you want to take this course, or do you want? And but at that point, I said, you know, I really love for you to come take this course, and I think it would do really well. And I had to sell it. We're going to talk about selling things. You know, like when you go to a store, you got to sell. Sorry, when you have your own business, you have to be your sales rep, and you got to do that with everything. I got to sell stuff to my kids. I got to sell stuff to my husband. You got to perk it up, you know. And I'm not talking about the bedroom per se, you know.
Right.
These are words, you know.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, listening and invest in yourself and your relationship, and you'll both, you know, get closer.
That's awesome. Thank you. Sorry, go ahead. Pay attention.
No worries. Yeah. So my family, my business, my health. And again, you know, we talk a lot about our family. Everybody who has family, everybody, you know, even if they don't have kids, you know, the sisters and brothers, as you mentioned, or grandparents. I mean, that is definitely something on everybody's, like, huge, like, up their list. But we also want to talk about, and there's, you know, what kind of a dream home do you want? This is a picture of a beautiful dream home that I found. I've got many, you know, but this is one of them. I am going to own a Tesla car, and I love Tesla Motors. It's an electric car, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I want to vacation more. Think about that. And so these are the things that I pay attention to when I want to get energized. So with the first one, I mean, I skipped around a little bit, but the first one, pay attention to who inspires you, is enormous for me. I have many. I couldn't fit them all on this slide, but Nelson Mandela is somebody I inspire to be like, and Oprah Winfrey, she's a big one for a lot of people, and Elon Musk, he's the inventor of PayPal and SpaceX and the Tesla Motors. And so these are people that I inspire to be like. I read a lot of books about them and others. So what energizes, think about what energizes you. We talked about that. Is it your business? Is it something, a goal that you really want to get at? And put it up, like put it either in words or in pictures. Some people have vision boards that are really useful. Whatever works for you. And what fulfills you. And you and I were talking about these moments, Carolyn. I mean, we often, like the other day I was walking and it was a crisp fall, beautiful, beautiful morning. And I was just taking my kids to school and the sunlight was just perfect, the leaves, the color, the light, the grass. And I just paused and I felt so incredibly fulfilled. I felt connected to nature and I put that in my back pocket. That's that feeling that I want to feel when I reach my goal. I want to feel that peace and tranquility and just like I've done it, yes. So you capture these moments and really make it deep. Like deepen that thought. Just think about where did this come from and look at this earth. Take a picture, put it on Facebook and go to the depths of your soul and write about it and you'll find that that's gonna energize you for the day. It's gonna give you power.
I think that's phenomenal, Dana, because a lot of times we get caught up with stuff that happens in life. We get caught up with stuff that happens in our business. We get caught up with stuff that people say about us, which, by the way, is really none of our business. But it's important to have those moments, and I like the way you describe that, is really moments you've experienced that created great joy or happiness for you to be able to go back into your back pocket or your box or whatever you want to call it, where you want to put them, and pull that out and just replace that negative situation or thought with that amazing feeling. And then go back at it and, find an amazing solution and have an amazing day. Because, as you said, challenges are going to arise no matter what. Stuff in life is going to happen no matter what, no matter who you are, no matter how much money you make. And, one of the things I always tell people is the difference between successful people and very, very, very successful people, they have just learned to get over their stuff faster. That's really the main thing.
It's not about how we fall, Carolyn. It's how we pick ourselves up. Absolutely.
Exactly. Love it. Love it. Now, you and I talked about this, and I am so excited about this next section. And then I'm going to stop and see if anybody has any questions. But one of the things that you reiterate over and over again is review and recommit. Let's chat about that for a while.
Awesome. So this slide we're going to talk about because it's about action. Carolyn, we all know that we have fabulous ideas. Every single one of us, we're all unique. We all think of, how many people have you spoken to and just like, you know what, I have an awesome idea. It's because we're problem solvers as human beings. We think of something, we're just like, oh, this glass, the way you hold it is awful. Let me just, let me invent a new glass that's like, going to capture my hand better. And look at all the beautiful things that we've done as human beings. Think of the electricity. Think of, the way we're in airplanes now and traveling the world. These are all creations of mankind. And they didn't have wings or, supervision or anything. They're just like us. But the difference is that the actions that they took, number one. The second is that along the way, we tend to, oh, you know what, this is too hard and just forget it. Let me just go back to my old ways. It's much easier. And we may not necessarily say that in our own mind, but our actions are what speak. So I want to talk about review and recommit, which is basically about our actions. Now, I'm sorry if this is not really clear because, I had a dash here and I removed it, but I want to just take a look at this little heart that I have, because throughout the rest of my slides, I have this little pink heart, and that means that when you're doing this particular type of action that I'm talking about, this is where you're going to need to review and recommit. Awesome. So let's go back to this for a sec with regards to action. We need to remember, Carolyn, that we can't get wet from the word water. And we cannot change the room temperature unless we literally walk up to the thermostat and change the temperature. So having these ideas, when we have a to-do list, when we have our yearly plan, when we have our 10-year plan, we always need to review it, and we need to see, while we're reviewing it, am I going to keep this goal or this action? Am I going to shift it? Or am I going to drop it all together? And that's what the review part is. Keep, shift, or drop. Awesome?
Yes.
thing is, yeah, the second thing is recommit. And the reason I say recommit is because we are really good at starting stuff. And along the way, we lose that strength and that, quote, commitment. So we've got to go back, pull our socks up and say, okay, again, why do it? Why am I doing this? And if you don't have a good reason and it's not part of your plan, you really need to drop it. So let me give you an example with my 2 hours a day. Okay, this is what I had. I had a window from 9 to 11. My son was in, like, all my kids were in half-day kindergarten. I missed the boat, unfortunately, for the full day. And I had to say, there were so many things on Twitter that I absolutely loved. These Twitter chats that would take up 1 solid hour, Carolyn.
I know, you get caught up on that stuff, Dana. It can take your whole day away.
But I did get caught up in it. You have to, like I said, you know, don't be afraid to fall, right? Learn from it. And I did get caught up, and I love them. They were awesome. They were about they could be about paintings. They could be about photography. They were about, you know, these smelly candles that were awesome. And it was all under the name of, you know, holistic development and stuff that I was attracted to. But then when I did the review and recommitment, I started asking myself, okay, is this working for me? No, I have 2 hours a day, and then I got to go pick up my son. I'm going to drop this. Is it part of my plan? Is it part of my big picture? Not really. I know I want to invest in myself, but is this going to be, you know, part of, you know, my growth, right? No, I don't feel at this point in time it is. Drop it. Am I having fun and being fulfilled? I'm having fun. Am I being fulfilled? No, I wasn't. I was actually feeling worse when I left because I felt like I had 60 whole minutes and they were gone. Awesome. So
yeah.
So that's pretty much, I mean, it was when you're asking yourself these questions, like when we're going through the slides, the little pink heart's going to show up, and I'd love our listeners to really think about the pink heart when you're like, and then think, review, recommit. Am I going to keep this? Am I going to shift it? Shift it means like, okay, is the gym working for me at this time? Morning is probably better. The light's coming through. I don't really like nighttime. You know, let me shift that in the schedule. I'm going to go through the schedule.
Okay.
So
I'm just going to pause for one moment, Dana, and see if anybody has any questions at this time. So if you have a question for Dana, all you need to do is raise your hand, and then I can unmute you and allow you to ask your question. Does anybody have any questions for Dana? Again, just raise your hand. You'll see it on the little side there. Just click on it. Just wanted to say that I'm finding this really helpful. Thank you. Wonderful, Jennifer. Thank you so much for your feedback. I greatly appreciate that. So Jennifer's finding this extremely helpful, but has no questions at this time. That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Jennifer. Anybody else have any other questions for us right now? Okay, so we'll move on, and if something does come up, please write it down. We want to make sure your questions are answered tonight and that we can support you in creating anything as possible. All right, so the next thing we're going to go to is Dana's going to talk to us about how we plan and strategize, you know, our daily, our 3-month, our 1 year, our 5-year, and our 10-year. And this is exciting for me because this is an area that okay, why is the slide not coming up? Sorry, guys, I'm having a little bit of a technical difficulty here. Give me one moment. This slide does not want to appear. Oh.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'm going to pull it all up. I didn't know this one. Oh, geez, I'm very talented. I didn't even know I created that. Fantastic. See, I learned a new thing.
It's animation. Awesome.
Fun with Carolyn and Dana.
There you go.
So
awesome.
let's go into this. This is really exciting for me because this is probably one area that I coach on but could use some work for myself.
Love it, Carolyn. Well, this is my big discovery. And this took me a long time to, like I said, through reading, through investment, through a lot of testing, honestly, trial and error. This is the one that really worked for me. Again, there's the little pink heart, so this is definitely something we're going to review and recommit because life comes up, and that's really what review and recommit is all about, and that's okay. So let's, with my coaching, which I've started on, empowering people on time management, this is one thing that I would start with. So we need to start, what this is a structure from the bottom. We're starting from the bottom with our 10 years from today, and we're working our way up. And the reason we're doing that, Carolyn, is because through my life and through reading of what most people have done is that the day-to-day makes us so blurry that we really lose our focus on the big horizon. I'm going to tell you a statistic, Carolyn, which is crazy. And this was a study that was done. And as a 40-year-old woman, it really got me going on this. So they did a study with 125-year-old men and women. They were mixed. And all of these 25-year-olds were really, really excited about life, fire in their eyes, and they all had a dream and a goal. And what they did is they studied these 25-year-olds. They were educated, and they, like I said, they had a purpose. So when they followed them, they kept with these 100 individuals until they were 65 years old. And the results were astounding. So one out of those 100 people, Carolyn, were actually living beyond their dreams. 3 of those people were saying, you know what, I got my goal. 4 of those people were still working at 65, and the rest were broke.
Wow.
So, isn't that powerful? And then you think about, and again, I have my energizing moments. After I learned that statistic, I remember clearly, I went to the mall, and I was by myself, and I sat down, and I was having just something to eat. I was looking around me, and I could see a lot of people who were 65 and up, and I could tell what they were. I was looking at their eyes and the way they were thinking, and I'm like, do I want to be in a state where I feel like I'm still working and I'm 65 years old? Do I want to be in that state? And I didn't. I said, no, I don't. So I need a 10-year plan. I want to know 10 years from now, and 10 years from now I'm going to be 50, but I have a 10-year goal. And the 10 years from today, what does it look like? What do I want out of that? What do I want? And down to your kids, okay? And I started calculating, okay, my daughter's going to be, well, she's 12 right now, 10 years she's going to be 22. What do I want for her? What do I want in my relationship? How many countries do I want to visit? Down to the detail, right? And I sat down for 2 hours on the computer and wrote it down. And then from that came, okay, from that I think I can do a 5-year goal stretching from the 10-year. 10 years from today, how do I want to get to closer to my 10-year? And then move it up a notch and say, okay, 1 year from today, what are the things that I'm going to achieve that are going to get me to my 5-year, that are going to ultimately get me where I want to be in 10 years? And then we're going to go to, which is coming up in the next slides, which is one of my favorites, which is my 3-month bubbles. And that is how I kind of envisioned like my succeed-in list is what I call it, because I wanted to make it fun. And it's another thing that, I always say, sell it to yourself, Carolyn. Like, it's so important to make your succeed-in list just fun and exciting. It's very similar. I was talking to you about this, one of my girlfriends, actually, when I lived in Dubai, she's the one who convinced me of this. I was like, what's your problem? I was drinking out of a plastic cup. And she's like, why are you always drinking from that plastic, cup, bottle, whatever it is? And I was just like, yeah, because it's useful, just wash it out. And she's like, Dad, you have to make, your drinking, like, a great experience. You know, even if it's water, you know, get yourself a fancy cup, a nice glass, and I did, and believe me, it made the water that much more delicious. So again, that's where, yeah, totally. And like now I go to those moments, I'm like, ooh.
100%. You've got to enjoy those moments, and we don't, especially as women and moms. You know, and even dads. Like I notice my husband gives up a lot. No, it's for the kids. It's for the kids. You know, we got to do. But you're right. We have to enjoy that moment. But I also want to go because I love the fact. I want to make a point here. You talk about 1 year from today, 5 years from today, 10 years from today. And I like that because here's the deal. We always say, well, within 5 years, we're going to accomplish that. And then I hear people the next year later, well, within 5 years, I'm going to accomplish that. So you're going to accomplish the same thing, and every year it's 5 years. Instead of saying after the 1 year, well, now in 4 years, I'm going to accomplish that. Now, we don't say that. We keep bringing it on to 5 years. So I like that point of saying, okay, today's the day.
Yeah.
And it's going to be 1 year from now. And then today's the day, it's going to be 5 years from now. And really kind of having that timeline, because that can escape us as well, right?
Well, you know what's funny that actually got me thinking about this is, Carolyn, I would renew my passport, okay? And it has an expiry date. I would look at my picture and look at the expiry date. Yeah, that's where it came from. Isn't that awesome?
And I love it.
Yeah. I wonder what I'm going to look like. Like, I think the expiry date was like with my passport. I was born in Brazil, so it was 10 years. And I'm like, man, what am I going to look like in 10 years? It was like, the pages would be done by the time the 10 years were up, but still, that's where I got the today from.
I love it.
Yeah, so.
It's amazing, and I think it's really important because we keep kind of putting it off. Well, it didn't work out this year, so in 5 years from now. It didn't work out this, whatever. So I think that's great. But let's get on to your 3-month bubbles because I think that's going to really excite people. That really creates some strategy. So I'm really excited to go there. Let's get going with that.
Oh yeah,
Here we are.
These are my 3-month bubbles, and this is on the computer, and mine are in a notebook. So please feel free to color them, use funky markers, and again, there's the little heart that's to review and recommit. Am I going to keep these? Am I going to shift or drop them? And why am I doing them? So the 3-month bubbles, the way they work is on size and color. Okay, so you can use either or. I love art, and so I use both. But what I'm saying is that the size really depends on your priorities. So my health, as you can tell, is like swelling there in the middle because that is in the next 3 months something that really needs my attention. I really want to strengthen my lower back, and so as you can see there, I'm going to the gym 3 times a week. I'm going to be drinking 4 glasses of water per day. I'm going to eat salad every day, and I'm going to eat fish 2 times a week. So if you notice, Carolyn, you have to be very specific. And we teach this to our children. We also, when somebody's not specific with us and speaking to us, we get confused. So why are we not specific with ourselves, and saying, okay, you're going to go to the gym. I'm going to go to the gym. Well, how many times a week are you going to go to the gym? Good question. 3 times a week. Okay, when are those days? You know what? Let me do Monday, Wednesday, Friday for now. And again, because we're going to review it. Mm-hmm. And we're going to see if we're going to keep it or shift it. Drinking water. How many glasses of water do you want to drink a day? Or how many milliliters? Or how many liters? Salad. How often? You can even be as specific as to say, I want kale in my salad from now on, or I want to put flaxseed from now on. So be as specific as possible and try to quantify everything. Math is really, really something. If we have a number, it kind of connects us in a different part of our brain where the recommitment and is that much more powerful. Like you said 3 times a week, you only did 2. Come on now, So the health is the biggest one at this moment in time. Once I build my strength, in my home, maybe my basement is going to need my attention, the home will swell. So these are 6 bubbles. I would do 6, no more than 8, because you want to set yourself up for success. You don't want to put too much information in there because, again, it's 3 months. Like, you know, if you're going to put in mind, for example, and that's an example of was something I would not write. By the way, I put that in there specifically, like Tony Robbins' book. I was specific. How many books? He's got many books. Put the number in there. But if you're going to put, oh, I'm going to read in the next 3 months, I'm going to read 10 books or 15 books, and you're like me, 3 kids, husband, activities, weekends, you're doing laundry, ask yourself, is that realistic? And, you know, you want to be successful because success feeds more success, and that's what your ultimate goal is. We're changing our rituals here, right? So with my family, I want to say for summer vacation, board game night, put some romance in there if you're in a relationship. It's because family, we tend to think, especially if we have children, that, okay, we'll just slide the husband, you know, or the partner in there, and it really needs to be something that you need to nurture. Charity is really important to me. MAD is one of the charities that I support, Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. And like I said, and there's my career. This is what I want to do over the next 3 months. I want to do 3 blogs. I want to do 1 parenting workshop, my Facebook campaign for camp, and oops, and there's my home, which is, you know, get my windows clean. I want a new dining room table and fix the shower in my basement. So those are my 3-month bubbles, and I review these every week. I take a look at them. If you know, the 3-month bubbles are there so you can see what your goals are. And again, Carolyn, going back to the 10-year plan, these 3-month bubbles are actually stemming from 10-year, 5-year, 1 year from today. That's where they're coming from. So can you imagine, like, everything that you're doing is feeding into that 10-year from today, which is fantastic. And it's not just day to day to day to day to day, you know?
And that's amazing because I like this process. I'm like you. I like to have things in front of me, and I like the color thing. My favorite color is purple. My daughter laughs at me because I have so many purple markers in my briefcase. But
yeah,
you know, I think this is great, and I like the fact to point out, guys, don't do too many. You know, if you start bringing in all these bubbles because you want to do all these things, well, it's no different from making 20 lists and never getting anything done and not feeling like you're succeeding. The whole point of keeping the numbers down is to create that success and managing what else is going on in your life. Like, I too have 2 children, and I have events, and I have, you know, coaching, and I have to run errands and get kids back and forth. So, you know, it was really hard for me as well to kind of figure out, okay, I've got to make sure I'm not being hard on myself because I'm not accomplishing my 50 lists that are on my wall, and bringing it down into a doable, you know, situation. I'm not saying sometimes you're not going to have to push yourself a little bit. Like, there's times where, you know, I didn't get stuff done, and you know this too, Dana, where we stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning to get it done. But in the same time, you've got to manage that so that you're enjoying your life and that all these other aspects of your life are getting attained to. And as you've proven with what you've created, it is possible if you stick to it, if you recommit, if you keep reviewing things and then recommit to it again, and you know, get rid of those boxcars that don't apply at this point in time to reach that 1-year, 5-year, 10-year goal that you've set for yourself. That's really, 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 really powerful because it really allows people to set themselves up for success. And that's one of the things you mentioned right from the beginning. Set yourself up for success, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to put yourself in a situation, right, Dana, where it's just too much and it doesn't matter who you are, you're not going to get it done.
Well, you want to thank yourself, Carolyn. You and I talked about this. How many times I have in the past just, you know, thanking everybody, which is great, you know, and even looking up at the sky and saying, you know, thank you. But how many times had I looked in the mirror and said, thank you for today? Not once. Not once. You know, I was always waiting for somebody else to thank me. And that's when I was not successful. So imagine if one of these things in your bubbles, you achieve that. please, anybody who's listening to that, look in the mirror if you've achieved your goal and look in your eyes, your own eyes, and say, thank you. You will not imagine how much gratitude and how much that will feed your soul. It'll take you up a notch. Trust me.
Oh, I believe you. You know, one of the things that, you know, was always taught was really just appreciate yourself and create something for yourself. I do a happy dance when I get something off my list that I've been trying to get off, or something happens that is just really great. I jump up and do a happy dance. I actually did it one day. I got a phone call. I forgot where I was. I was in a store, and I did a happy dance, and everybody stopped and looked at me, and I went, got great news. Sorry, guys, I got to do my happy dance.
That's hilarious. That's so cute.
But you know what? It's showing, as you said, it's showing yourself that appreciation and gratefulness that you accomplished what you said you were going to accomplish. And this is really important, and you and I talked about this, Dana. Guys, you have to do that happy dance, the looking in the mirror and saying thank you, and that appreciation for having that success, even for the little things.
Yes.
We always think it has to be something big. No. What will fuel your engine is even the little things. If I get 2 things off my list, you know, for example, this week, you know, I had a lot to do, and I'm leaving on vacation Friday, and I've got an event happening, and blah, 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 blah. My daughter got sick. So one of my days that I thought I had so much to get done all shifted. Now, I could have gone and go, oh, my God, like, what am I going to do? But instead, she took a nap, and I got 5 things off my list. And I went, good job. You got 5 things off your list. That's fantastic. And just being able to share that appreciation for myself and getting those 5 things off instead of beating myself up for not getting all 20 things done, I was able to be more present for my daughter and also feel accomplished. So what you're saying is just so, so powerful.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great, Carolyn.
Well, let's move to the next one because this is so exciting. Weekly plan, and let's make it short and sweet.
Yeah, the next one we're going to go through really quickly. So we've done our 10-year, 5-year, 1 year from today's. We've done our 3-month bubbles, and now we're like, okay, so we're moving to the weekly. So we move from our 3-month to our weekly plan. And again, this is all feeding right into the 10 years from today. This, again, has a little pink heart. So again, we're going to be reviewing it. We're going to see, we're going to keep, shift, drop this, and we're going to recommit. Why am I doing this? So in this is my simple, short and sweet weekly plan 1. I've got a weekly plan 2, which is right up ahead, but we'll take a look at this first, which is the full speed one. And I created this because in the middle, it's a frame, basically, Carolyn, and in our frame, in a picture frame, the pictures always can change. You can put a picture of your, your family, grandparents. You can put a picture of yourself, and that's the same in here. These are the things that I'm willing to negotiate with time. So my Blue Spruce, my CAMSO, my Heart LC, and personal development, or even work development. So that means, okay, I am going to set days in the week that these things I'm flexible to work around, which is inside the picture frame. What's outside the picture frame are the things that cannot budge. And we're talking no budging, no movement. I am going to be stuck in this because I want to prove to myself that I'm able to commit to what I said I'm going to commit to. I'm going to have that's huge. For you to have the integrity with your words, right? So really quickly, this is the example of mine. So at the top, I review my schedules on Sundays. I planned it that way, Sunday nights, because my husband plays hockey those nights, and I can sit with myself, and I know that the kids are in bed and that he's out playing hockey. That's for me. The second that I don't budge is my family time. Saturdays, put it in there. Date nights, I don't budge those, because if you're not happy in your relationship, and the best speakers in the world have said this, doesn't matter how successful, how much money you have, if your romance or your relationship is suffering, you're just not going to be happy. So date night is huge. Food, groceries, and cooking, prep time, I can't budge that because otherwise we're eating out. or we're ordering in, and it's not what I've committed to with my family. I want them to eat healthy as much as possible. My volunteer work, I've committed to 2 projects at That Doesn't Move. Right in the middle there is my soul, my body, and my mind, so reading books, my gym time, and connecting my soul. My house, which is the cleaning, making sure that everything's in its place, and we're going to talk about leverage and how you're going to get help, doing all of these things. The kids' homework doesn't budge, and the kids' activities can't budge. So that, in a nutshell, is short and sweet, and so you have the flexibility.
Awesome. Okay, so we're going to move on to the more detailed schedule, right?
Yeah. So this one is the full speed one, and again, in my coaching, when I work with my clients, we really work on understanding what their goals are, and if they're interested in, after the short and sweet, they're like, I want to go full speed, we put it down. So this is a snapshot of mine. Again, I review this. I see, does this working for me? Am I going to shift my gym? See, notice that this is actually one that I worked on 2 weeks ago, because my gym, I tried going at 9 to 10 p.m. I did, and I went with my husband, and I tried to kind of squeeze the date night in there. He's like, okay, thank you, but no thanks. So it was 8 to 9 p.m., sorry, 9 to 10 p.m., and I didn't enjoy it. Why? Because I wanted to go swimming, and in the morning, it was way quieter. At night, there were just like 10 guys in the swimming pool. I'm like, okay, you know what, I'm going to pass, and I didn't get to swim. So that's when I say life comes up, right? You get to review this. So the red, the orange, and the yellow things that don't budge, and the blues are what the wiggle room is. Yeah, so that's the full speed one. And again, it's based on the 3-month bubbles. And you know, the important things, you know, what are the non-negotiables and where's your wiggle room.
So I have a question for you, because I know we're going to go through all these schedules and how we set all this stuff up, and I think this is fantastic, but I have a burning question inside of me that I have to ask you, because obviously when you first started and you said you only had 2 hours a day, how did you make a lot of this stuff work in that 2 hours?
So there's my 2 hours a day, Carolyn. It was from 9 to 11 a.m. I focused on building my business. Okay? I focused on how is this going to grow. And I will talk to you about this in the next one. I have noticed that, and I've done a study actually, it's called the 80-20 rule, or the 20-80 rule. Some people call it either or. But if you look at studies that have shown that business examples, that 20% of employees are responsible for 80% of the company's output, or even 20% of customers are responsible for 80% of revenue. When I looked at that, I'm like, okay, I'm awake 12 hours a day, and 20% of that time is 2.5 hours. I can do that. And it was like 9 to 11, 10 maximum. And what I did is, again, it was the energy, and it was, how am I going to grow this business? What is essential? What is going to give me 80% of the results in this 20% amount of time that I have awake? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what I would do. So if it was, for example, for like my camps, I would review, I want a second location. Okay, where am I going to get it? Check out the maps. Let me make a few phone calls and really filter everything out. No Facebook, no tweet chats, no phone calls, just do it. And would I get up? Yeah. Okay, and I start through my mind, and I get up and get a drink of water, or I'd walk around, and then I would come back. And the success fed the success. So in this, we're moving now to the, so sorry, to answer your question, that's where I would fit in. That's where the 2 hours, that's what they would look like. Okay. Yeah, moving to the daily succeed-in list. I don't call it the to-do list. I call it the succeed-in list. To-do sounds like I'm cleaning the garage, for God's sake. You know, that's what I got to do. But to succeed-in list is like I said, it's just gonna. It's all the power in language, and I'm selling it to myself. So the first thing, keep your list all in one spot. There's so much out there, like technologies. There's your computer. I personally love to use my notepad. I love notepads. I love agendas. I love pen and paper. I like to use color. And so just make sure you keep it all in one place and not in different places all at once. The 20-80% rule, we touched upon that. And the last thing I would say is that you need to set a start and a finish time. And that's essential because, again, when you're attaching a number to it, a date and a time, you get to review it too, Carolyn. Like, you're just like, wow, I thought this was going to take me 3 hours. This is insane. Like, counting pizza lunch money, you think it's an hour? And you're like, oh my God, I did in 3 hours, I did 2 classrooms. Like, I totally suck. But it's a good chance for you to review it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you make it more efficient? How do you make it better? How do we do it faster?
Yeah, so keep it all in one place. The 20-80% rule, there's a little pink heart. It's always up for review, recommit, what you're going to push, the start to finish time, and put little stars or little dashes on those things that will give you that 80% of your results, okay?
I love that. That's so important. I know we're about to go into the leverage aspect. I'm just going to have a quick question here because we're running a little bit over time, guys. Bear with us, but this is such important stuff. I hope you guys can hang on. Does anybody have any questions? Because we touched on some really important stuff here, and I don't want to miss out if anyone has any questions here. You can either, as I said, send me a question if you're having a challenge or raise your hand and I can unmute you and you can ask it. Anyone have any questions at all? I have a question on how you work with problems. This is Abby. How you become a successful businesswoman when you are going through personal problems. Abby, fabulous question, and I know that both of us can answer that question, but I'm going to let Dana take it first.
Well, personal problems is a really tough one. It's something you always need, obviously, the support, Carolyn, from people around you because their energy is in your space. Okay, and they're not obviously being responsible and they're not understanding. So one thing that I did is I really, like I said, I really understood that looking at myself from within of how am I going to project the positive in me and pump my own engine. Again, I would always look to my husband in the past for making me feel good about myself, and the struggle was that when I looked at myself, I felt like I wasn't actually the one empowering myself. I was looking for the outside. So number one, I would say, if you're really having a tough time in a relationship, come back to your why. Come back to those things, those pocket things that make you fulfilled and energize you. And be successful, because when people around you start to see that you are successful and that you're fulfilling yourself, that is going to rub off. It's going to allow them to take a look and be like, what's she up to? I wonder. I also talked to you about this, Carolyn, which is really powerful for me, is meditation. Mm-hmm. Meditation was huge for me when I have any kind of struggle. I do meditation with Deepak and Oprah. It's completely free. They do 21 days. I'm doing it right now. And it's always fulfilled me. But I think you wanted to touch upon the answer as well, for time's sake. I hope I've answered.
No, I think that's a great perspective. And just so that we're covering other angles, I mean, that's a great way to kind of handle stuff that comes up. I went through a 2-year period, Abby, and everyone else that's on the line, where I had a lot of personal problems arise from the death of both my parents to a major flood in my basement where it was completely destroyed, and my in-laws' basements who lived next door, as well as having a major car accident where myself or my daughter's life could have been lost. And this literally happened over about 8-month period, and it was one thing after another. So it was very overwhelming for me because I kind of felt like, what's going on? And I found it very difficult to focus on my business. But what I started to realize is that, yeah, it may have happened in 18 months, and these are personal challenges that can arise in our lives. They could be emotional. They could be actual things that happen, a variety of different things like, Dana touched on the emotional side of things. But when physical things actually happen too, it's really important to still maintain your business but also take the time for yourself. So this is where some of the strategies that Dana has actually touched on could help, where you go back to your 3-month bubble and maybe you massage it. Maybe you have, in your 3 months, you have right now 8 bubbles or 6 bubbles. Maybe you need to reduce them down to 3. So it's kind of revisiting what's going on here right now. What do I need to shift a little while I'm dealing with some of these challenges? Where can I ask for help or support, which, I know Dana is going to touch on leveraging and delegating. That kind of stuff is so important. The other thing is life problems happen. So we kind of have to set ourselves up in ways to create that support so that our business doesn't fall to the side and we're not starting over again. And as you grow your business, you'll find more and more systems to put into place and talk to more people about what they're doing. I've made sure I've surrounded myself, like Dana has also said, I purposely surrounded myself with extremely successful, powerful, entrepreneurial women for the purpose that when a challenge arises in my life like that, now I can call them up and go, oh my God, this is what has happened. How have you handled it before? Do you have any suggestions for me on how I could approach the situation? Because I'm feeling a little overwhelmed. It is so important to ask for help when you can. Now, keep in mind, you're not looking at that person to vent. You're looking for a solution. So ask a specific question when you approach with these people because they are very busy and they're willing to help. Believe me, most people are. So when you create those relationships. So again, I hope both of us have touched on aspects that would answer your question, Abby. If not, please feel free to ask another one. But really, everything that Dana is talking about cannot apply. Sorry, go ahead, Dana.
So I want to add something for Abby really quick because I'm just going back in time. If this is a relationship, especially with a man, show him your plan. Men really appreciate, my husband, I'm talking from experience, when my husband saw that I had a 10 years from today, I had a 5 years, I had a 1 year, he saw the benefit for our family, and he was actually more interested in taking care of the house, taking care of the kids, so I could get to my goal because it's for both of us. It wasn't just about me. And we are going to talk about how we can use leverage, but it's really important that you share with your partner what you're doing and show them your plan. Say, look at my bubbles.
Exactly.
Do you see what I'm trying to achieve here? And they're going to be like, wow, that's so cool. Can I have some bubbles too? I mean it. Put them part of your bubble plan. Make them part of it. Give them a say. And then that might open up some doors. That's actually what worked with me as well.
Awesome. And I agree. Same thing for me with my husband too, to get him on board. Abby, if that doesn't answer your question and there's a little bit more you're looking for in that, please, send up a question for us or, again, put your hand up and we can ask. So whatever works best for you. I hope that we were able to provide you with enough explanation in that particular area. Feel free, if we haven't, we're going to move on. But if we haven't, to send me another question, okay? So I don't see any other hands up or questions, so I'm going to move on to the next thing because I think this is also, this is kind of where we're going with this, Dana, with the delegate. Did I?
No, we're good. You're right. We're on how to deal with distractions because getting things done, you are going to have distractions. And Carolyn, you and I were talking about, how do we deal with this? So the number one thing, this is going to be really fast. I love this quote by Warren Buffett, which is the difference between successful people and very successful people is very successful people say no to almost everything. And isn't it awesome?
It's true. We need to.
We think this, yes, I'll commit to this, and we cheapen our talk. Because when we don't fulfill it, we're like, oops, and then we continue down that path. So we have to be very careful. Say no. And this is actually speaking to know what your time, your free time in particular, is really worth. And I actually have with my coaching a formula to get you to know what your free time is really worth, Carolyn. So one of the questions, I actually tested it on myself, is if I were to give you a $100 gift card to your favorite store, and I would say, how long do you want to wait in line for this? Okay, and they give you some entertainment, how long would you wait in line? And my number was 30 minutes. So my hour is worth $200. So I knew, oh my God, if I'm going to go to a workshop for 4 hours, do I want to spend $600 today? The answer is yes, then go. The answer is no, then don't. Right?
Absolutely.
Hello?
Sorry, I had a technical difficulty. My apologies. Sorry about that with the slideshow. No, absolutely, 100%. I agree.
So make sure for the distraction that you want your goals more than anything else in the world, make it like you want more, like as much as you want to breathe when you're underwater, you know, like go for the language. Be mindful of what your time is really worth. Also plan for the interruptions. Embrace them. They're the type that you're going to get, okay, mommy in your face. Okay, maybe this is an interruption, but, you know, he or she really needs me right now. Or an interruption may be, oh my God, the Santa parade's on. You know, I completely forgot. Is this worth it? Family time. Okay, and you learn from it. Like embrace your interruptions. They're only going to make you grow, and they're also going to release the fears and improve your life.
Yeah, and I agree. And, you know, just to add something to that, recently I had a big lesson that I was taught from my coach. And, you know, we oftentimes will push ourselves and get exhausted, and then we just keep going and we burn out. And we have to be careful with that as entrepreneurs because it's very possible. But I learned to actually at some point when I got that tired is to stop and take a 10-minute nap and actually give myself permission to do that, or 20 minutes or half an hour. And when I started doing that, here's what I realized. When I woke up from that nap, I was 10 times more productive than pushing myself to keep going for another 2 hours. I got more done in an hour after that nap than I did in the 3 hours for not having that nap.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's really important too, you know, like give yourself that permission to have that break or that interruption sometimes. Sometimes we need it.
Totally.
All right, next. How to leverage and delegate.
This slide speaks for itself. Okay, so I've learned that there's a big difference between delegating and leverage. And this doesn't mean that, you know, even that you're working in an office. You know, I'm an entrepreneur, and I used to be very, very bossy, not only with my staff or, you know, with my family. It's just in, you know, in every aspect of my life. So I learned the difference between excuse me, delegating and leverage. So these are the questions, and let's look at the difference here. With delegate, here's what I want you to do. So imagine speaking to your partner or your staff, and look at leverage. What do you need for me to help? So if you want the laundry done, you know, and you need to get that off your list, and you talk to your kids, okay, what do you need for me to make you, to help you, kids, fold the laundry? Okay, Mom, well, I don't know how to use the washer and dryer, and I can't really lift it up the stairs. There, I will help you. And you're empowering them. This is empowering them to do it. The second is telling them, okay, so this is how you do it, and you're empowering them by saying this is your role. Even to a staff member, imagine if you say, like, this is your role. You make them feel like empowered. Wow, I'm responsible about this. I'm the boss here. You know, yeah, give it to them. A leader is what brings out leaders in others. That's what this is about. This is what I want it to look like. Oh my God, like I can just, you know, hear some of the moms probably like with husbands saying, yep, the mopping, you suck. This is what I want the mopping to look like, as opposed to, okay, so this is our plan, and, you know, listen to, explain what the plan is for the room, and what do you think? You know, I'm going to give you some, what do you think? Some room to negotiate here. I own it, you own it. This is what you need to do. This is what this is what we're going to succeed in. Here's my opinion. What's your opinion? You know, so you see the difference, Carolyn, like here, this is how you'll get people on your team. Think of your partner as your teammate. You know, talk to him or, you know, and say, you know, I want to have a business meeting with you, and this is my plan, and then what's your opinion on this? How can we be successful together in this? And be quiet and wait for them to respond.
And that's so powerful, Dana. It's so important what you're saying to empower other people. Because here's the deal. We all want to feel good about ourselves. And when you provide that leverage by empowering someone, and believing in they're capable of doing it, they want to do it even more. I mean, all of us are like that. You know, if somebody gives me a responsibility and they trust me, I'm going to make sure I do a really good job for them because they trusted me to do it and I know it's important to them. So, you know, we're all the same. We love to feel, you know, needed and wanted. I don't care who you are. And when I agree with you so, like 100%, if you leverage them by empowering them and getting them to participate and being a part of the plan, people are much more excited and willing to support and help. And this can happen, as you said, anywhere. It can happen on, you know, I work on a CSAC board with my school, and I support them there. We're doing better than we've done in years past, and that's because I just keep, you know, for lack of a better word, stroking their ego, because these are phenomenal people, and they do a phenomenal job. And I ask them, how do you feel you could support this? And I let them choose, as you said, what they want to do. And then I just encourage the heck out of them and give them what they need to get it done.
That's right. Yep. Motivate them. Be their cheerleader. You know, get them going. You know, sell it to them. Sell it to them, Carol, as we were talking about. You know, like sell it to the 10-year. Say, come on, we're going to retire in 10 years. Can you imagine how awesome? We'll go on vacation every day.
Now, I can just feel it, Dana, because you keep using the word sell it and sales. I could probably feel that there's some of our attendees here going, ooh, I hate sales. Guys, here's the deal. Anything you do, anytime you share something, it's like no difference than if you have this beautiful top on or this great tie and, you know, somebody asked where you got it and you said, oh my God, thanks so much. I love this tie. Yeah, I went and bought it at the Bay. It was on sale, blah, blah, blah. You're selling that tie now.
Mm-hmm.
So really, if you want to, if you're getting caught up with that, just in case, you know, look at it this way. You're an information ambassador, and it's your job to share the information that you have because you believe that your service or product will support other people, or the message you have will support other people and create success in your being in service. So to be the best person you can in service is to provide the best information to share with that person and to get them on board. So you're selling them to be on board and to participate. And
I love that.
Change your mindset around that sales or that sell, because we do it all the time and you do it naturally. People, and I pulled it out with some of my clients. I go, you do this every day and here's why and here's what it looks like. And you often do it naturally. So just change the mindset a little bit about that terminology and what it looks like for you. And I promise you, you will get more leads, more contacts, share with more people, get more people on board, enroll, leverage more people, whatever words you want to use, you'll start to see things happening for yourself. Anything you want to add to that, Dana?
No, that's perfect. Thank you, Carol. That was awesome. Yeah.
Is there anyone that has any questions? Because we're going to be ending soon. We've got a couple more quick things, some housekeeping to go through with you, but we're kind of at the end here and just wanted to see if anyone has any questions for Dana or would like anything explained before we take the next step. You can ask the question. If you don't want me to mention your name, you could just say, please don't mention my name, and I'll just generally ask the question, or you can put your hand up and ask the question. Does anyone have any questions? I'm going to wait a second. Okay, so I don't see any questions. Hopefully that means that we've been absolutely phenomenal at explaining everything to everybody and they feel very confident in the information that you've shared, because I'm grateful for it, Dana. Like, I've been writing notes here on the slides that I have over here on all the little suggestions and recommendations and looking to see how I'm going to tweak my daily plan, and I love the bubbles. I've already started drawing my own while we were talking, so I'm really pumped about, you know, creating that aspect for myself, because that is it's just fun. And I'm committed to having fun.
You're awesome, Carolyn. I love it. That's wonderful.
Awesome. So let's move on a little bit here. You know, Dana also offers coaching as well. So she has some information here for you. You can copy down her email if you want to get in contact with her. It's dana@heartlc.com. She's also provided her her Twitter handle and her information, so you can contact her, and her phone number. So if any of you want to get in contact with Dana, find about her Camp Zone if you have kids, or her Heart Center for Learning. I was actually on looking at some of that stuff. Dana, we need to talk later about possibly my daughter and one of your camps. I'm really liking some of the stuff that you're putting there.
I love that. Have a blast.
Right? So if you want to find out more about what Dana offers in coaching, please just, make contact with her. I recommend by email first, and just say you'd like to set up a time to chat with her so she can, give you a session to kind of have that conversation and go from there. So I'm kind of holding off so you can copy down that information. This will also be up on my website eventually. You got to give me probably a couple weeks because I'm going to be away. But we'll get this up so you can come back and listen to it as well at a different time. Now we also have some other things here. Now, oh, Dana, where's yours? Okay, there's a slide missing here. This is, wait 1 second here. Oh, we have a slide missing, my dear. It didn't copy. Dana also has an event coming up on the 29th. Dana, I'm going to get you to share that event. I don't know where that slide is, my dear. I'm very sorry it was added in there. So Dana, we both have an event, but I'd like Dana to share hers first. She has an event coming up on the 29th that I think is a phenomenal event that if that particular event fits for you, you should be attending. So Dana, please go ahead and share a little bit about that event.
Thank you, Carolyn. Yeah, one of the things I've learned in my life, ladies and gentlemen, is investing in myself. And I didn't believe in it when I first moved to Canada 11 years ago at all. I felt like I could solve my own problems and I could just talk to my mom on the phone, and it didn't work. When I slowly got into, when I learned about, workshops, events, I started attending and I felt empowered, awesome, and it got me thinking more about my life and how can I apply what I've learned and how this person's life has been transformed by these things. Maybe I could do the same for myself and tweak it and as I go along. So my event, it's called Embrace Life Now. It's coming up on November 29th. The general entry ticket is $20. It's the early bird. It ends this Friday. It's in Vaughan at the Spring Hill Suites by Marriott. We have some phenomenal speakers and speaking about various subjects. So I'm going to be there speaking about small business. We have Randy Goodman, who's speaking about speed networking, Suzanne Hart, leadership. We have Nick Tsimis talking about real wealth. Ritu Gupta, whose father is actually the owner of 15 hotels in Toronto and now is into development in the city. It's the Gupta Group. He came to Canada with $100 in his pocket and grew from there. It's a really, really fantastic story. His daughter Ritu is the VP of Sales and Marketing, and she also she teaches meditation. She's raised tons of money for charity. She has her own fashion line. So it's going to be really, really exciting. So I really hope to see you there. And please email me if you have any questions about it.
And Dana, where's it going to be held?
It's going to be in the Spring Hill Suites in the Marriott and the Verona Ballroom in Vaughan.
Awesome. And what time does it start and end?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's all day, Carolyn. It's from 9:30 in the morning until 5 p.m. So you can come and go. You don't have to stay the entire day. We will put out the schedule. So even if you want to come to listen to Randy or myself or Suzanne and leave, it's up to you. Like, a lot of people feel like with these things that you have to stay the entire time. Please feel welcome. We would love for you to stay the whole time because you'll get much more value out of your $20. There's absolutely no purchases there necessary, and really hope that you register for that early bird.
Awesome. Dana, thank you. And this is a great event, ladies and gentlemen. That is a great possibility. Now, the funny thing is, when Dana and I were talking about this webinar, we both realized we both have an event on the same day.
I know. Otherwise,
both like to attend each other's events.
Yeah.
So just to share that with you, my event is very, very different. It's very specific oriented. It's about creating that conversation, creating that talk for yourself. And, it's really how to attract new clients, drive profits, build your business. And here's the deal. Whether you're talking to one person or you're talking to 1,000 people, the information is the same, right? But it's how you present it. It's how you enroll them. It's how you create that emotional connection with that person, and then through that conversation have them take action, whether it's a service, whether it's a business, whether it's a charity that you're supporting. This is a great event to be attending. Tanya Chernovia, who is the keynote speaker, speaks internationally all over the world. She usually works with top entrepreneurs and she also works with a lot of corporate people, CEOs, VPs, that she normally charges about $3,000 per person for a 2-day event. And, Tanya and I were chatting because she was the speaker at my last event, and I said, Tanya, there's a lot of small to medium-sized business owners that could so benefit from your amazing talents. Tanya speaks all over the world. She gets flown in by L'Oreal to Europe, wherever they're going, to really inspire, train, and support their staff, and multiple other companies. And the success stories that Tanya has and the lives that she's changed for people is absolutely phenomenal. So she has created this day, and this one day is for $249 for an entire day. Again, we're there from 9:30 to 5 p.m. It will be intense, but you will be so happy with the results. But we only have spots for 50 people because she's going to take you through a process, step by step by step, on how to really create an amazing talk conversation. So you're literally going to be walking away with the foundation on how to create it, as well as the start or the finish, depending on how hard you work, of a great new conversation or talk, depending on your business. So hopefully you can attend that, or if not, and Dana's is much more interesting to you, then you'll be attending one of our events. It's really important to be attending as many events as you can, and as both of us have said, to continue to educate yourself and support yourself in building your business and creating your brand. And the more education you have and the more information you have, the more powerful you'll be in whatever it is you do. Do you have anything you want to add there, Dana?
Carolyn, I want to say that I was actually, you encouraged me to come on a webinar with Tanya, and she was fantastic, because if you're looking to do speaking, you really should go to Carolyn's event. We're actually marketing to two different crowds. So
Absolutely.
This one in particular, like, honestly, Carolyn, if I didn't, and you and I talked like a month and a half before events, I'm like, oh my God, I have an event on the 29th, can you come? And you're like, no, I have an event. And I was really sad to hear it was Tanya after I heard her webinar, because she was fantastic. We did a 45-minute with 15 minutes of questions, and she was really great. I was asking like tons of questions. She was fantastic.
Oh, I know, you were on there. I was really impressed. There was a couple of you that really stepped up and asked them amazing questions. And Tanya was like, oh, I can't wait to meet these girls in person. I'm like, they can't be there. They're at another event. So, listen, ladies and gentlemen, these both events are great opportunities for you. Decide what works for you, what's best for you. And we're here to serve. We're here to support you. We're here to help you create what's possible in your business. That's why I do my webinars. That's why I bring on amazing people like Dana to share their talents and information, because, my philosophy, and I know Dana's is the same, is we're really here to elevate, collaborate, and educate men and women entrepreneurs to support them in having the success they deserve. I can say I've been blessed that I've been supported by a lot of people, and my goal is to do the same. And I'm going to put it out there again right now, 5 years from now. I hope to have touched the lives of over 5 million people and support them in some way or form across the world. So I have big dreams, and now I'm going to have to sit down and do my homework, Dana, from 10 years to 5 years to 1 year, because it is, as of today, I'm committed.
I love it, Carolyn. That's fantastic. That's a really worthy and wonderful goal.
And Dana, again, I'm going to bring back up, in case anybody didn't get to copy, there's Dana's information. Please make sure, if you don't find it, email her and ask her for the link to her event. If you need more information around that, please make sure you email her and get it so that you're in and registered. And for me, you saw my information. Again, it's at supermomentrepreneur.com. Men are welcome. It's not just for women, but once we hit our 50, we're done. We need to keep it fairly intimate at our event. Because it will be very intense, but wow, you'll be pretty darn impressed. So yeah, please keep in touch with us. Most of you now have my contact information as well by registering. You can also reach me at info@supermomentrepreneur.com. Thank you so much, Dana, for being on Supermom's webinar tonight. We appreciate you. We are grateful for your information. Thank you for all of our attendees for being here, and Jody for supporting us. And I wish you all an amazing night and success and possibility in all areas of your life.
Thank you so much, Carolyn, and thanks for everybody for being here. It was fantastic. And I just want to say I met Carolyn at a networking event, so go to the events. I got this incredible opportunity to speak on her webinar, and I'm really grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great night, everyone. Enjoy, and I hope you start implementing some of the stuff you learned tonight.
Yep. Have fun doing it.